What's up guys, it's Ian here, back today with another video. I've been meaning to cover this topic for a long time. It just took me a long time to kind of formulate my thoughts regarding the topic. I was a bit afraid of cancellation, but now I've kind of barely even been using my YouTube channel. I figure if they ban my channel over this, I guess it's meant to be. This video is going to be about why did I stop making YouTube videos for so long. During 2022, I guess the end of 2021. So December of 2021, my employer put me on forced leave of absence because I wouldn't take the COVID vaccine. I never even took my first shot, let alone a booster. Yeah, I was just extremely mistrusting of the public health officials, of the government, things like that. So I essentially refused to take the vaccine. They forced me to take leave of absence, and then about 3 or 4 months later, they just told me that they gave my position away to somebody else. On its surface, this probably shouldn't have bothered me that much, and it really didn't, but I kind of reflected on it more in terms of a systemic societal series of issues. So essentially, that wasn't the beginning of this at all. December was kind of the hard cutoff where employees could no longer work without the vaccine. Sorry, it's too bright, so I'll put the glasses back on. December was that hard cutoff that they set for employees, but for members and general public, the cutoff was, I believe it was in October or November of 2021. So that means that as early as maybe September, October, I don't remember the exact month, but several months before the employee mandate, we were turning away members from using the gym because they were unvaccinated. There would be members who would show us fake vaccine cards and they would forge them just to try to work out. And I remember policing them and turning them away and going around and being like, hey, you're lying to me, like I know this is a fake card, I know you forged it, all this stuff. In my mind, I guess I was just doing my job. I felt like I was doing the right thing, but that same exact rhetoric cost me my job. And in retrospect, I had no business going around and policing people for their fake vaccine cards. Like, people should have been allowed to go to the gym and work out. There were tons of vaccinated people still getting COVID, vaccinated people giving COVID to other vaccinated people. It just didn't make any sense. Like, to have a few unvaccinated individuals in the gym, it's almost irrelevant if you're that concerned about getting sick. I mean, and you already took the vaccine, I don't think your chances are any higher of contracting it from an unvaccinated individual. So it was just this whole series of events, but I was just kind of deluded. I guess what it boils down to is that OSHA, Occupational Safety and Hazard Association? I don't know if that's what the acronym means. Anyways, you know, OSHA doesn't have enough employees. The government doesn't really have enough employees to prevent people from accessing gyms and stores and things. And I was kind of doing the bidding of the government, if that makes sense. And they weren't even paying me to do so. I was just doing my normal job, and they were getting me to enforce some unconstitutional edict. We never got to vote to decide if people should be banned from public places of business. I made that video on the problem with Tinder in the past. It's like if Google was to buy all the dating sites and all the social media sites, if Facebook, Meta was able to buy every single social media, and then let's say like Alphabet buys Meta, and now they just own everything, right? They can very easily shut you out of socializing with people on digital means. Kind of circles back to the whole gym thing. Yeah, maybe losing your access to the gym isn't the worst, although I personally feel terrible for turning some people away from the gym, and in retrospect, I would not have done it. What I, have to point out is that it could get so much worse than that. Imagine you or your family gets turned away from the grocery store because you didn't want to take a vaccine. I personally wouldn't take the vaccine because I believe it had a risk of causing significant harm, and the benefit wasn't there. I got COVID in late 2022. Yeah, I'm like getting the years mixed up. It's 2023 right now. It's May of 2023 right now when I'm making this video. Yeah, so all of this happened in 2021. But anyways, I ended up getting COVID unvaccinated, and it was super mild. Not that it's like that for everybody. There are people dying. They usually have pre-existing health issues, but I'm sure there's healthy people who just, with bad luck of the draw, they still have a really significant negative outcome, and that's really unfortunate. Sometimes you can't predict those things. I essentially went into a period of reflection, kind of a deep depression because it felt like I was doing everything right. I was trying really hard in my life. I was doing well in fitness. I was helping a lot of people. I felt like I was doing all the right things. So when you saw me making a lot of videos from December of 2021 up until first quarter of 2022, that was when I was on leave of absence, but I hadn't actually lost my job yet. So then when I lost my job, it kind of really hit me that I was a victim of the same edicts that I was actually helping to enforce. So maybe it was some karmic justice there. I would agree that I deserved to lose my job because of my actions, because I turned people away from the gym. I literally stopped others from making fitness progress just so I could keep getting paid and keep working on my own fitness progress. I mean, when you put it like that, it's pretty self-centered. I was just looking out for my own self-interest. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was like the media brainwashing. I haven't mentioned the name of the employer because I don't want to get sued, but if you've been following me, you probably know the series of gyms that I worked at over time. But at that particular gym, they did have TVs playing all the time. It was always on CNN. They were always fear-mongering people with constant death tolls, constant, oh, this person was healthy and died of COVID, but then what they didn't tell you is like that they're obese and they had asthma, right? It's like, no, motherfucker, this person wasn't healthy. They're lying to you to create this fear-mongering environment to make it much more likely that you'll comply. And maybe just because I was surrounded by that, I guess I kind of believed in it at that point. I really bought the hype. I felt intrinsically not conflicted. I felt like I was doing the right thing, turning these people away. But it didn't even really make sense because I was unvaccinated. If I really believed that they were going to harm people, I mean, surely I would have been harming people. But at that point, I had never actually officially gotten COVID. I had gone all the way from 2019 to end of 2021, never got COVID. I actually never even got sick for 2 whole years. As soon as they let us take the masks off, I instantly took the masks off. I was working out in crowded rooms full of people, breathing heavy, sweating, yelling, whatever people do in gyms. Crowded rooms, never once got sick. 2 whole years, right? So yeah, from my perspective, I didn't think that I could be harming anybody. Maybe I was asymptomatic, but I'm pretty dubious about that in itself. Like, if you have no symptoms, then how can your viral load be high enough to transmit a disease that you theoretically have? That just doesn't even add up to me, right? Maybe it exists, but they could have been lying about that too. You know, I really had to get this off my chest. It's just interesting because, yeah, it was kind of like the SS, the, what's the Italian one? You know, the thing from World War II, the secret police, the Gestapo. The Gestapo, I was like, is that Germany or Italy or whatever it is, the evil Axis powers. I was like the Gestapo. I just thought that I was doing the right thing when I was clearly doing the wrong thing. I stopped some people from exercising. I stopped some people's gains. That's unforgivable. I mean, I lost my job. I'm making way less money than I used to. I don't need money because I still live with my family and stuff. Things could be a lot worse. But just think about it. Like, if I was living on my own somewhere, I could have either taken this thing that I perceived would have harmed me greatly or potentially gone homeless and died or something, right? Had to become a criminal to survive, right? It's like the threat of taking somebody's job is very severe. I mean, the threat of stopping somebody from going to the gym is also very severe. So I'm not trying to make it seem like one is better or worse than the other. This isn't meant to be about the magnitude of harm, because that would make it sound as if I'm trying to absolve myself of wrongdoing, and this is more supposed to be like a confession than trying to absolve myself of wrongdoing. I'm trying to kind of admit that I harmed others and come to terms with it. I guess I was really drinking the Kool-Aid back then as a Branch Covidian. They were playing CNN all day. I was being brainwashed by that shit. I was working full-time, plus I would get there 2 or 3 hours early to, you know, work out and eat food and rest and change clothes and stuff. So I would often spend 12 hours a day in the gym 5 days a week. I wasn't working the whole time, but, you know, I'd be working 8 hours and, you know, have my breaks. So yeah, I would spend so much time in the gym. I guess I was subconsciously absorbing this CNN, even if I had my headphones in and I was listening to music. You can still read the text on the screen, and my headphones aren't noise canceling, so I could also hear what they were saying. I guess I bought it. I really believed that I was doing the right thing. Yeah, because when you circle back to the Gestapo, the SS in World War II, the Axis powers, they all thought that they were doing the right thing. I mean, I'm sure some of them, like, you know, Joseph Mengele, the true masterminds behind a lot of the evil and the harm, they really had evil intent, right? They were really just like, let's cause as much suffering as possible. Let's do as much bad stuff as we really can. But I thought I was doing the right thing. I guess I got tricked. It's been about 1 year since I really stopped making YouTube videos consistently, because this crisis kind of ensued after first quarter of 2022, and it's been about 1.5 years since the events described in this video. I just really wanted to give you guys an honest honest recollection of why I stopped making videos. I was just in a crisis. The demotivation was so great that I kind of even like gave up on fitness, which is kind of ironic given the fact that I always use the catchphrase, can't stop these gains. But I guess I voluntarily self-selected to stop exercising for a long period of time. I mean, I didn't really have a good reason for it. I was just more demotivated than anything, but maybe it was atonement, or maybe subconscious atonement for my sins, for keeping people out of the gym. But what I would say is that my whole social circle at that time was built around the gym, because I had a terrible commute. My commute was often an hour and a half each way, sometimes 2 hours each way if I missed the connection on public transit. And I already told you I was at the gym sometimes 10 to 12 hours a day. If you add on 3 hours of average commute time before and after cumulatively, that's 13 to 16 hours on any given day. So I would really just get home, meal prep, eat, shower, sleep, wake up, eat, go straight to work, and I would be there all day. So that was literally my entire social circle. That was all I did. It was everybody that I knew. So it made the decision to not get vaccinated and be willing to give up my career and job so much more severe, because it was not only did I lose my job, but I lost the thing that really filled up my days and also my entire social circle. After that, people really don't treat you the same way when you're an adult and you're not working. You're looked at as a bit of an outsider, outcast, a failure. And I felt all of these things. I've started working again, kind of regaining confidence. I feel like I have a good social circle at this new gym that I'm at now, and there's no vaccine mandate, which I'm grateful for. But, you know, if they did institute a mandate, I would have to bite the bullet and be ready to give it all up again. And it's hard to just try to keep rebuilding your social circles and lose them over and over again. Before this job in Richmond that I lost due to the vaccine mandate, I worked in Hayward for a while. I've also worked in San Francisco for a while. So I've worked in many different cities, and kind of each time you change, you have to build a whole new social circle, because you'll make friends at gyms. Some people you'll be friends with as you move on through life, but most of the time you don't, just because you move in separate trajectories, and that's just how things are. It's not negative, it's just how it is. But to have these things taken involuntarily is a bit severe, and I guess part of that really forced me to realize what I took from other people too, because when I had turned people away from the gym and stopped their gains due to their vaccine status, I basically deprived them of their social circle to some extent. Maybe their life wasn't as firmly entrenched in it as mine was, but I'm not trying to cut myself slack, or I mean, I guess that does sound like I'm doing that. Maybe subconsciously I am trying to weasel my way out of it. But yeah, I mean, I robbed others of their social circle, so not only did I stop their gains, but I also may have interrupted their ability or completely taken away their ability to associate with the individuals that they would have only seen at the gym that they wouldn't see in other places. Maybe they had to change memberships. Maybe I forcibly broke off some of their social connections that they'll never get back. You stop somebody from going to the gym and they didn't see their friend, and then their friend could die or something, you know, in a car crash or something completely unrelated. Maybe the person comes back after the vaccine mandate and they just never see them again, right? It could be things like this happening all over the place. Yeah, you got to think about not only the immediate effects of taking away somebody's gym membership, but also all the downstream effects. Removing one aspect of their social life, it has a lot of downstream effects. I mean, I feel still to this day a terrible sense of guilt. Maybe the fact that I had my career derailed and I lost my own job and that entire social circle, maybe that is justice for my actions. Leave it in the comments down below. Have I atoned for my sins by losing my career, having it derailed, and losing my social circles as well? Does that make up for the fact that I harmed so many other people? Or what does it take to make up for the fact that I harmed so many other people? Is it even possible? Because as I gave in that one hypothetical example, if you were at the gym and everybody who goes to the gym probably has some friends that they only see at the gym. You just don't hang out outside the gym, right? And imagine you had to take 3 months off during the vaccine only window, and then you came back and that person, they could have died or moved away, or you just never see them again, right? So that person is effectively gone out of your life and you've permanently lost your ability to interact with them because some employee decided to enforce a mandate that they didn't really have to enforce. I mean, I guess I technically had to enforce it to keep my job, but you know what I mean, like you kind of didn't have to. I mean, I did it because I wanted to keep my job, and they were actually the employer was threatening us with lawsuits and legal action. They were actually saying like, oh well, if you don't do this, you're gonna be responsible if people get sick and die. They were guilting the fuck out of us, man. They were really like going hard on the fear porn. They were really like, yo, if you let in this person with the fake vaccine card, like it's on you, and like if they get people sick and if they kill this old person with the COVID, like it's your fault. And it's like, motherfucker, like who are you to tell me this? like, and now we know, like, person could have been completely vaccinated and still passed on the COVID and killed the old people, right? So it really didn't matter, and they're just making this shit up to control us all. It's just drastic. Like, there's so many angles to it. Put it in the comments down below. Really had to get this off my chest. If they give me a strike or ban my channel for this, sure, whatever. But I think the science actually supports what I'm saying now. I don't know that there was as much support for my beliefs back then, but now I think my beliefs and what I've told you in this video, they're fairly common in mainstream beliefs even. Amongst a lot of people who don't only consume mainstream media, CNN type stuff, these are fairly widely held beliefs. Yeah, I think a lot of Americans believe what I'm saying here. They agree with a lot of what I said, maybe not all of it. If all you did was ever watch TV, you'd think that everybody believed in the fear-mongering, fear porn, but I think if you actually talk to average young people between the ages of 18 and 25, 18 and 30, like, a lot of them actually believe similar beliefs to what I'm saying. I'm not saying that they agree with everything, but a lot of them believe similar things. I think it's just that the media narrative gets repeated over and over and kind of shoved down your throat. People develop the misconception that everybody believes in that popular narrative, but I refute that narrative and I don't necessarily believe in it. I've told you what I believe. Have I absolved myself from my wrongdoings? I'm not sure, so that's why I'm asking you. You know, normally I'm just like, oh yeah, comment for the algorithm, comment so I get ideas for my next video. But I really want to know all of my viewers' thoughts on this issue, because this is a significant issue. It's derailed my life. I don't want to say it's forced me to, because I made the conscious actions out of self-preservation and maybe a bit of being brainwashed to think that I was doing the right thing. But I derailed portions of other people's lives. I derailed other people's gym experience. I think all the gyms in that county were derailing people's experiences, but it depended on the employees working there, right? And I just had a pretty decent job and I was afraid of losing it, so I complied. And yeah, I think a lot of people are too afraid to have their career derailed. A lot of people are too afraid to lose their jobs, so they won't stick up for what they think is right. They could also be brainwashed. You'd be surprised out in the world just how many people are... Self-preservation is generally foremost as an instinct, and caring about others, it's definitely a noble pursuit as long as it doesn't affect yourself negatively, but most people view that as an afterthought, and thoughts of empathy only tend to come when they're of little consequence to yourself. It's very rare that people will truly give up much of themselves for others. That would have been equivalent to me quitting the job or walking out or saying like, oh no, I'm not going to enforce this. But the thing is that somebody else would have just taken my job. I don't know that it would have accomplished anything in the private sector. I don't think in California we have a critical mass of people who would have walked out of their jobs. I guess I'm just kind of digressing here, and it still kind of subconsciously seems like I'm attempting to absolve myself of the feeling of wrongdoing. So yeah, I should stop. But please comment down below. Let me know what you think. Have this conversation with others and try not to let anybody stop your gains.